Please remember that all the opinions in the show are those of the host and should only be taken as food for thought. We're in no way telling you to do anything. Everything is kept anonymous for the safety of the listeners and no information is shared to anyone else. If you are easily offended by people's opinions or views, then thank you for making it this far, but this is not the podcast for you, so see you later. And please enjoy the rest of the show. My boyfriends give me the ick. Ugh, there's that word again, Jay.
The word ick gives me the ick.
He isn't taking care of himself as much anymore in both hygiene and diet, and he is not motivated to do anything around the house. We have a new place together and trying to get it as much redone as possible cheaply, which means we are doing most of the work ourselves. At the start, he was really active and into, but now I'm finding him on TikTok or watching TV while I struggle away with the DIY. How can I change him back? I tried to speak to him and seeing if he's depressed or something, but he's given me nothing. This made me laugh because Sabina was decorating my dining room the other day. And I was in the kitchen, not helping.
Maybe this is Sabina. Under a pseudonym.
But no, like I spoke to her about this email because I said to her, I was like, does it bother you that I'm not interested in the DIY and stuff like that? And she was like, well, you do other things while I'm doing the DIY.
Yeah, you're not sitting there watching TV.
Yeah, so, well, sometimes it depends on. When we had, like I said, we had our mates over the other day for board games night. She wanted the dining room painted. That's what she was doing, painting it. So I made the dinner. I cooked the dinner. I made like bread and desserts, and like I was doing things, and while she was getting all that ready. And then the other day, we're tidying up the spare room because her mum's coming over, and we were doing bits and bobs. And then she got to me in the kitchen and she was like, oh, what should we do next? And I was like, I need 10, 15 minutes to myself because I can't, like, I've had enough.
You want to sit down and chill.
Like, I can't, yeah. I was like, I can't decide on what to do next because we've been going for so long. And she was like, okay. So I sat in the dining room and played my game and she went up and in the bedroom, like we had our own space. And then after 15, 20 minutes, I was like, did you want to go do this? But I just needed that.
Bring you back down
that
to
separation. That, yeah. Because I like in the morning, I got up to go to the toilet, and I literally looked in the spare room, and I was already overwhelmed. I was like, before it even started, you know what I mean. But I powered through because I knew at the end of it, it was going to be clear, and her mum would appreciate it and stuff like that. But Sabina understands that if I say I need to take a break, she doesn't push me. She's like, okay, it's going to take a break.
I think with our listener, I think from the sounds of the email, the boyfriend is either burnt out or he is depressed and he's not talking about it. And I think there's one or two ways to go about that. There's to be as supportive as possible, but then there's also, if he's not talking to you, you need to find someone that he will talk to, whether it's a friend, family member, or whether he needs to go to counselling or something. Because if he's been doing all this DIY and all this extra stuff, I did the same with the garden. You're exhausted all the time. And you need to like reset, like you're saying, where you had that 10, 15 minutes. But if he hasn't been doing that, then he's burnt himself out totally. And he needs to... Him shutting down and watching TV and watching TikToks is him distracting himself from what's going on.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Absolutely.
And I think if he's not talking to you, then he needs someone else to talk to. You need to find out who that is because he's not going to do it himself. And it might take him a long time to come back out of it. I think it happens.
Women are on a different wavelength, though. Like, when they want to get something done, they just carry on going at it. We're like guys, I wouldn't say we're like, well, I always say we are quite childish. But like, if I've been at work all day, and then as soon as I've finished, my partner's like, right, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do this, and then we've got to cook dinner, and then we've got to do this, and then like and then it's bedtime, and then you get up and you got to go to work, and then
all over again.
yeah, I mean it's yeah, and that guy looks at things like that very specifically, like it's very burnt. Like I need to, so maybe like look at your sort of
It piles on.
schedule that you're sort of doing it, yeah, because I know you want to get it done quickly so you can get on and stuff like that, but maybe if he's constantly expecting you to want another thing and another thing and another thing, that's why he's burnt out, right? Like he's just expecting you to want to do something
Yeah.
else,
I,
and there's no break.
I find with me, if it's something I've mentioned this before, if it's something I don't want to do, I like come home and I give myself a time that I'm going to have it done by. So if it's something I've got to sort out, like earlier on in the week, I had to sort out the hot tub because it like stopped working, started tripping out the electric and stuff. So I had to empty it out and get all the electric stuff out. And I was like, I got back from work and I was like, I'm going to have this done in an hour and a half. And then I just didn't stop from then. But then that's not a good way to do with things either, because then when Charlotte's trying to do it and talk to me through it, I'm completely locked into what I'm doing. I'm not talking. So that causes arguments as well. So
Yeah,
I don't know. Some people, like my dad, doesn't stop. He always needs a project all the time. And that's how he gets through life. But some people need the downtime. And if they're not getting it, then it can fuck them up. And eventually they end up catatonic, like they're just stuck in TikTok or stuck in a TV show. And that's because they've run themselves ragged up until that point
yeah,
and pushed themselves out of their comfort zone.
yeah. I manage mine now with like baking.
Yeah.
So like when I make bread, and Sabina knows this as well. Like she'd be like, "Oh, do you want to get the bread started?" So I'll like do the starter. I've got 15, 20 minutes to myself getting the bread started. Then it's got to sit for an hour or two, depending on what bread I'm making.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, right, I've got an hour or two. What do you need done? We'll go off and we'll do different bits and bobs.
Yeah.
But that making the bread for me is my time. And when we're out, she'll be like, "How long have you got left until you need to go back for the bread?" And I'll be like, "Oh, I've got like half an hour." And then we'll get back and she'll go off and do something, leave me in the kitchen. I'll like roll the bread out, whatever. And then I'm like, right, now you've got me again for another hour.
Yeah.
And that's me like splitting it up. And like she gets a loaf of bread at the end of it and I get a thing. But like that you've got to be a certain degree of like supportiveness, right? Like you've got to understand that your partner's a bit burnt out. So maybe like give them a bit of relief and be like, "Oh, let's not bother with doing the DIY today. Let's go to the cinema or let's go out for a meal," or giving him a break. Or then like I like Jamie's one as well, where you've got like time limits, right? So when you come home, you could go like, "Oh, let's do this for an hour," and then that's it. Just do an hour, and then the rest of the day we enjoy ourselves.
I see it because I'm like, oh, I could do whatever I want after. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Or you could. There's another way as well. These are just ideas that I'm trying. Like you can just try. Another idea you could do is be like, well, I want to get, I don't know, not the wallpaper, something easy. I want to. I don't know. I'm not very good with DIY. I want to put a shelf up. While I'm doing this, can you make the dinner?
Yeah.
Or can you, like, this is the thing what I get right is like, and I said this at the beginning of a relationship with Sabina and stuff like that. I was like, don't assume that I'm going to do things. Don't hint at me for doing things. It's not childish if you say to me, I would like you to do this. Can you do this? Like, it's much easier and there's less arguments if you just ask me to do something and then I'll go do it.
Yeah, because you've not got the natural assumption there to do it.
No, because I don't do anything for myself. If I come home and you leave me to my own devices, I'm going to sit on TikTok like this guy and do nothing. But if Sabina turns around and is like, "Oh, can you make the dinner tonight?" I'll be like, "Okay."
You've also touched on a point there as well where she mentioned they've recently moved into this place, moved in together, So that could be part of it as well. Like, you're getting used to each other. So
Mm.
he was all like, you do it whenever you move in with someone for the first time, you do all this prim and proper shit. And then slowly and slowly, the real person starts to come out. And that could
Yeah.
be what's happened. There's been 4 months of DIY and hard going, and now he's tired and wants to have chill out time because
Yeah.
he's starting to show his real self. Do you know what I mean? And that happens with every relationship. Like, no one goes into a house first with your partner and says, "Oh, I won't wash them dishes," or "I won't do that," or "I won't do that." 10 years down the line, you're fucking arguing about who's putting the dishwasher on and who's emptying it. Do you know what I mean? It's just natural occurrence. And I think
Yeah.
for people at the beginning, that is a big struggle, especially if people nowadays we're moving out later and later as well. So you're used to being
Yeah.
like with your parents later and later, so you get stuck in your ways. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My voice is getting worse as we go.
That's all right. We'll carry on. Yeah, I wouldn't like. I get the ick thing. Like, you feel like you're taking on a lot more than he is.
Yeah.
And people always go straight away to like depression and things like that, and people don't really notice when they're burnt out. But I think we've given you a few things to try to see if it like changes them around. So I think
I definitely think he's burnt out from the sounds of it.
It sounds to me like
he doesn't, not necessarily depressed, but he's definitely burnt out.
Yeah, there's a song called "Real Man" by Dax.
Yeah,
have you heard it?
Yeah,
fucking love that song. And it hits. It's like men to a T as well. I just think it's fucking brilliant. But have a listen, see if it helps. It won't, because there's nothing to do with DIY. I just throw that in there, random Dan fact. But yeah, don't give up on this guy. Like, I know he's got it in him, and like I said, like, sometimes we just need that little nudge to just be like, just to ask, just say, can you do this while I'm doing this? And I guarantee you, he's just gonna be like, okay, because that's what most guys would do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But let us know how it goes. Hopefully, he'll bounce back and everything will be okay. Because that's what we're rooting for. Oh, I swear I'm going to end up squishing my nuts so I keep moving around.